Coming to you live from the Learned Goat in Bright Hope. It's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and I'm the most intelligent man here, and I intend to keep our podcast alive. Andy has a wife, and so does Chris. Smart men don't get married.
Yep, amen to that.
Yep, with me this week, a spoiled bloodline of inbred animals. First,
Claudio's died.
He has officially been promoted to the position of backup deputy. It's Chris.
It's the official opinion of the backup deputy that was a good opening.
Yes. Thank you very much. And secondly, he's not sulking, he's sour. It's Andy.
That's definitely me. I'll take that.
I thought it was a nice sweet line for you. We are the 10 Point Podcast. The same stuff I say every episode. It's anyone else?
You know
Chris, why don't you say what I say so I don't have to say it this week?
Just type it in the internet, you'll find us.
What do you type in, Chris?
What do you type in?
Podcast.com.
And where can
you will
find
see
us?
our lovely faces. I don't know. Where can't we find us?
Only fans.
On porn sites. You can't find us there.
Yeah. If you were lucky enough on one of the early ones, you got a special edition episode of the podcast.
You did.
That was one thing. So that's why it benefits you to have alerts and notifications on. There was a special edition, but it's gone. You can't get it anymore, can they, Andy?
Nope, there was just me saying, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked.
Andy broke the land speed record for swears in a 1 hour and a half on that episode, but it's been edited.
It's been edited,
so you'll never hear it. You'll never hear it ever again. I don't think it ever made the YouTube version. I think it was just
no, because YouTube is still going up, so I managed to stop that. That'll be up after this one.
Good, thank God. Yes, 10 Point Podcast. Stick it on the internet. You find it everywhere. Spotify. I've been messing around with Spotify, but not. I'll just mention this for something to talk about. I finally did the 3 months Spotify membership thing purely because I've got this AI DJ on Spotify, and I wanted to try this out. It's amazing. I love having this little DJ guy DJing for me. So thumbs up to Spotify. They're one of our favorite places because they do video versions and.
They need to just also give me a private premium account because we put so much content on their stuff. 3 private accounts, that's what we need.
Although I'm a little bit, some of the weird songs that the DJ plays for me that are...
some are bangers. Funny, you got to get through the weird to get to the bangers.
Yeah, he keeps playing Blues Brothers for me because I think I was like in the top 2% of Blues Brothers listeners because I listened to the music so much when we did the Blues Brothers on the podcast that it's like I've listened to. Anyway,
Spotify is the reason why I'd never heard of Kraftwerk. And we all love Pocket Calculator.
The Pocket Calculator, get in there, yes. Spotify, YouTube for video versions, the 10 Point Broadcast, you always get video versions over there in our fancy.
You've literally still done what you said you weren't going to do.
I know, but I always run straight into it, and I wanted to have something a bit different. What was your highlights of the week? Also, I wanted to say something there, I realised, because I have 0 highlights this week. I have watched nothing at all this week. That's how bad things have been. So, Andy, you said you had a couple of things, so why don't you hit us off with some highlights?
I watched the newest Jackie Chan, John Cena film on Netflix, which is called Hidden Strike.
Right. Is
Never
it
even heard
really bad, or is it just fine?
Absolutely epic.
Right.
Now,
so it's just fine.
Now, I think a little bit of the backstory about this film is it's 5 years old. That's why John Cena looks really young and got his proper full hair because his hair plugs just took effect. And yeah, it's an actually banger, but it bounced around production companies because nobody wanted it. And then Netflix was like, we'll do it. So there's a lot of weird green screen that looks like they've obviously added in.
Right. Okay.
The action's amazing. Some of the story's pretty good. A lot of the story is either missing or behind a Chinese subtitle wall, which means you have to read it, and I can read fast enough, so I'm definitely missed bits of the story.
Right, okay.
But ultimately, there's this big gap. It's basically set in a dystopian future where oil seems to be scarce and so is water, so kind of like Tank Girl. But for some reason, the main story is the oil company decided to shut down all of a sudden. These renegades come in to steal the woman that could reactivate the oil fields, and that's pretty much the story that I got. Other than that, it's just action all the way with Jackie Chan and John Cena.
Fight scenes, yeah.
Imagine a tanker remake with John Cena as Tank Girl.
I would be
epic.
I would say if you like Mad Max, the Fury Road film.
All right, okay.
It's not quite that, but it's along the same lines.
They do love a dystopian not having control of oil and water in Australia, don't they? It's always Australia, these things.
But this one's China. It's definitely Chinese.
China. Okay.
But it's all deserty, and it's literally just one big long road. It's a fucked road. I was like, hey, this is like Mad Max. And then they travel on this road about 5 times. And then
Right,
there's a
okay.
sandstorm. It's pretty much Mad Max.
Mad Max Fury Road, yeah.
However, I definitely did get a full-on erection watching the first episode of Ahsoka, which is all I can say.
I've heard good things about it, but I'm so off the radar with caring about
Ah.
what Disney's churning out. I didn't know it was today. Sorry,
Yeah.
on the date of
Well, I was
recording.
kicking off because it was meant to be yesterday, but that was an American because they decided to do a 6 p.m. premiere, which still meant the UK got at fucking 3 o'clock this morning. So
Right, okay.
I've watched one episode, and spoiler free, it is exactly what Star Wars needs to be.
Okay.
And has everything Star Wars related in it. And currently, like I said, it is boner fueled material. And as soon as this podcast ends, I'm going to go watch episode 2 and probably have another full boner going on, just to let you guys know.
I like the positive review. I think it's probably too much information for everybody.
I'll tell you, you guys are going to have boners as well, like straight off. After about,
I will phone you if I do.
I reckon after about 3 minutes into the episode, you'll be like, it's getting there. I see what you're saying. And then a minute in, you'll be like, yep, that's me hard all through the film. Well, I would say film. The first 2 parts is an hour and 45. 2 parts, hour and 45.
Combined, is it?
Yeah.
Jeez,
it's like a film.
Okay.
So hence
Good.
boner material.
Fair enough. Chris, any boners for you this week?
No, not really. The kids have been watching Harry Potter before they went back to school, so I've kind of caught glimpses of the Harry Potter series. They kind of get better as they go on. The older
You reckon?
I thought it was the other way
I think
around.
it peaks. I think it peaks in the middle. I think the first 2 are then it gets better, and then it's like, well, first of all, they make it so dark you can't see half of the last 2 films.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
One of my classic Harry Potterisms is like Chantel wanted to go watch at the cinema. So we went to cinema, and I never normally talk out loud at the cinema, but I was so taken aback. As I sat in, Harry Potter starts, some shit happens, and I just turn and goes, when the fuck did Dobby die? Hagrid's dead as well. And I was like, oh, I've missed the whole
I went to see the
film.
last one before I'd seen the one before that.
Yeah, I completely missed the film, and it was like Dobby's funeral or something like that. And I was just like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
I was like, I like that little
I
bastard.
wanted to see the last one because it was a big last film, big cinema experience. And I had never seen the one before that, so I had no idea what the fuck is happening.
So yeah, the Harry Potter franchise seems there's these gaps in my memory, but you generally, I thought I'd been up to date. Went and watched the next one. I was like, what the fuck did I just miss?
Missed one. Yeah. Very good, and I like it. Oh, sorry. What is? Do you think the last one's the best one? Then, do you? Because have you seen them all? I don't know if you've seen them all this week or whatever.
I've seen them all. I think the one before that, no, the Half Blood Prince, I think is the best one.
Yeah, that probably is
That's
the one.
I think turns to shit.
Yeah, it's kind of that's probably the end of the good ones. I think the last 2 I wasn't that fond of, and there's no point in even talking anymore because I have nothing to add. I've not watched anything. I'm kind of behind on new things and given up on The Bear, which was my previous last thing I was watching. On to the reason for the podcast this week with point number 1. What is the point? The point is the 2015 exciting, compelling Western horror drama Bone Tomahawk.
You watched that on Amazon, didn't you?
So yeah, I did watch it on Prime. It told me exciting and compelling. Written and directed by S. Craig Zahler, famous for writing and directing Bone Tomahawk, Brawl in Cell Block 99, and Dragged Across Concrete. Prior to Chris saying the words Bone and Tomahawk last week, I'd heard of none of those films, and they are the 3 that he has both written and directed. There's other bits and pieces that he's done, but they're his films, those 3. I can't say I've heard of them, but we've watched Bone Tomahawk, his first one of his writing and directing. The film stars as Sheriff Hunt, Kurt Russell, famous for Escape from New York, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Tombstone, Stargate, Executive Decision, Death Proof, Fast and Furious 7 onwards, I think. Then he was in Bone Tomahawk after Fast and Furious 7. Since then, Hateful Eight, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and he's upcoming going to be in Monarch, Legacy of the Monsters, the Apple TV series about Godzilla and that lot, which I'm looking forward to. And
also this picked kibosh 2 of my films that was going to be coming up this season.
Right, okay. Oh, of course, yeah. Okay, all right.
Well, so he's one of the 4 that was in the thing.
The squad behind you, which I don't know where you are here that way. Anyway. Co-starring as Arthur O'Dwyer, Patrick Wilson, famous for The Phantom of the Opera, the kind of early 90s version of Phantom of the Opera, Hard Candy, Little Children, Watchmen is where I first remember seeing Patrick Wilson, Insidious and the Insidiouses afterwards, The Conjuring and The Conjurings and Annabelle's and everything, The Nuns and all that afterwards. Bone Tomahawk, he was in season 2 of Fargo and he was in Aquaman. I don't know if he's in the upcoming Aquaman.
Oh, shit, yes, he was.
Oh, shit, son. Christopher in retro.
Third on the credits as Brooder, Matthew Fox, famous for Party of Five, famous for Lost, really.
Yeah.
Smoking Aces, Speed Racer, World War Z, Bone Tomahawk, and then he was basically cancelled and has not been in anything since Bone Tomahawk until something is coming up soon that he is in. He was charged with
I thought you
beating
meant
up.
proper cancelled, like he's done something.
Well, he has.
Yeah.
He was charged with beating up a female bus driver at something to do with a film he was filming. And then the charges were dropped, and the lawyer of the person who put the charges against him kind of fell out with the client. So the whole thing was cancelled. And then Dominic Monaghan, former co-star from Lost, one day just on the internet, just went off on Matthew Fox, calling him a wife beater and saying that it's not an isolated incident and all that sort of stuff. And that basically got Matthew Fox blacklisted in Hollywood. And
I do none of that.
And that's why Sean's mad. Sean loves Matthew Fox.
So, but I said nothing was ever proven. It's literally, if you look at the internet, there was this one case which got dropped, and the lawyer fell out with the person who put the charges, and then Dominic Monaghan just went off of him on Twitter one day, or I think it was Twitter, it might have been an interview, but Twitter. And then everyone just believed Dominic Monaghan, and that's it. Matthew Fox done. But I think he is in something. No, he was in something new this year or last year, and it was terrible. Apparently, it got really bad scores.
I think I actually seen him in something recently. Maybe that's that film that I watched the other week, and I can't remember what it was.
Maybe everything's gone. But that's Matthew Fox. This was basically the last thing in his career with doing Bone Tomahawk. And the fourth one, he was the and. I jumped to him. I jumped to Lily Simmons, who played Mrs. O'Dwyer, because she's in like 2 scenes of the film. The and on the credits as backup Deputy Chicory, although I don't really ever remember them saying his name until like the last scene of the film. Richard Jenkins. I did not realize this was Richard Jenkins. I did not recognize him at all. It looks nothing like him. Famous for The Witches of Eastwick, Me, Myself and Irene, Fun with Dick and Jane. I popped that in because we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago because we had Tia Leone on Bad Boys. The Visitor, which he was nominated for an Oscar. Step Brothers, which I think is probably his most famous role, is Step Brothers. Born After Reading, which was the next film made after Step Brothers. Eat, Pray, Love. Friends with Benefits. Which one is that, Chris? Which one is Friends with Benefits?
That's the one with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis.
Correct. Well done. Richard Jenkins also in Jack Reacher, White House Down before being in Bone Tomahawk. Since then, The Shape of Water. Remember that film? He was nominated for an Oscar for that as well. And then Nightmare Alley was the last big thing that he was in, Richard Jenkins. The film made on a budget of, did any of you see what the budget for this film was?
£5.50.
It's more than that, but just 1.8 million was the budget for this film. That's all the budget was. US opening weekend, I do not have numbers for US opening weekend. UK opening weekend, £42,000. Oh, pounds or dollars? I've got dollars written here, but I think it might be pounds. Final US gross, don't have a number. Final worldwide gross, which obviously doesn't include the US, $382,000.
Oh, that's a bad thing.
This is very much an independent film, but I didn't know that until afterwards. This looks like a Hollywood blockbustery big studio film. This is tremendously well put together concerning the budget it's got. Like I couldn't believe that it was limited release festival.
So that's instantly 2 extra points for Bruce there.
I didn't score it. I'd already scored at the time I found this information. I'd already finished the film, and I was like, well, that's this. Limited US release began on the 23rd of October 2015. Its full UK release actually got proper cinemas, not quoted as being limited. 19th of February 2016 meant it was 2016 awards season for Bone Tomahawk. Oscars, none. Razzies, none. MTV Movie Awards, none. 2016 Saturn Awards, 1 nomination. Nominated for Best Independent Film. Bone Tomahawk lost to Room, but not The Room. So don't get yourself too worried. Oh. It's a film starring Brie Larson about her and her child.
I've heard about
that. Who are basically kept in an entire room their whole lives and then get out and have to experience the outside world for the first time. Imagine sort of thing, Saturn Awards. It was nominated, Bone Tomahawk, for 28 other awards around the globe in America. Its wins were twice for Best Film, twice for Best Film in the Western genre, 1 for the director, 1 for writing, 1 for Kurt Russell, 1 for the makeup, and 1 for Raw Liba. He won Best Actor at, I think it was the Native American Acting Awards or something of that ilk. He played Wolf Skull, one of the two.
I was gonna say, just the guy who just stands there and screams for a while.
Yeah, the guy who has the skull on his head, not the boar tusk guy.
Yeah.
But he won, presumably for this, for his no lines and maybe 3 scenes that he had in this film.
The way he drinks that canteen must have been tremendous.
Yeah. Was he the one that would recover? That was, I think it might be what he did. Anyway, synopsis for Bone Tomahawk presented by Shibby.
Shibby.
Sure that's short for Shibby. A suspicious stranger is shot in the leg and put into lockup by the sheriff. Unknown to him and the townsfolk, the stranger and his partner have insulted a cannibalistic tribe. Later, the stranger, a deputy, and a lady doctor who is nursing the wounded stranger are all abducted by the savage tribesmen. The sheriff goes on a rescue mission, along with his backup deputy, a gunslinger, and the husband of the lady doc. Before going on this mission, they're all warned about the savage tribesmen. And that's the end of Shibby's synopsis, and that was the longest synopsis I could find for this film. A little bit of a tease. Who picked Bone Tomahawk? It was Chris. Chris, why did you pick Bone Tomahawk?
Well, somebody has spoken to me about this film and asked me if I've watched it, and I was like, no, and it's been incepted. And I thought it might have been you because we have discussed somebody before, and maybe you brought this film up, but somebody's asked me about this film.
Is it one of your fans? One of your regulars?
Oh, must be.
Sean?
I was not sure. I asked Sean today. I said, "Have you ever seen the film Bone Tomahawk?" Never even heard of it. But well,
it's got Matthew
Fox in it.
Yeah, I said that to him. So somebody's incepted this somehow.
I'll tell you what. I'll be watching it and then listening to this podcast and going, "Fucking hell, the savage match with Matthew Fox here."
Hadn't seen it before. None of us seen it before.
No,
not one of us had.
I definitely had heard of it, but I have not even seen a glimpse of this film.
Well, we know why it didn't get much of a release. Which channel would we find it on?
The horror channel. Apparently, somebody's seen it on.
Yeah, Amazon Prime. Yeah. And which version did we watch? I forgot to check if there were other versions, but I watched it on Prime, as I'm assuming you guys did as well. Yeah. So I don't know if there is another. If I can very quickly maybe find.
I reckon an edited version, maybe.
Because it's an independent film, so they might not do.
Fun fact, without spoiling any highlights, right? So, watch this film, right? I stopped it because I got sleepy. Went upstairs. Chantel was then going through her phone, and then a Facebook article came up with a picture of Kurt Russell in this film. Chantel was like, "The fuck?" And the description was, "Absolutely horrific film. This is not how a film should end. Bloody disgusting." And Chantel was like, "That can't be the same film we're watching." And then we carried on watching it the next morning. And then, out of nowhere, Facebook picked up the article. It literally it was the article was only written 2 days ago. So
yeah, all right,
yeah,
okay.
So this film's in somebody's thing, but yeah, 2 days ago, a random Facebook article written by some random person. This film still is current, apparently current.
It's in the news. No alternative versions. This is the only version of it. On that subject, before we get into the points 2 and 3, I'm a bit annoyed because when Chris announced that's what we're doing, and we were like, "What the hell are you talking about? You just made up a film." Literally, like one of the words on IMDb to describe it, it's like there's about 20 words with the synopsis there, and one of them is cannibalistic, and it's like it basically spoils the film. Like a big chunk of this film is you don't know what's going on and where they're going and all that. It's like, obviously you see skulls at the beginning, but it might just be dead people rather than actually having been eaten. So I think IMDb need to change that to I don't know, savages or whatever you want to call it that are out in the wild. Point 2 is the high points. What was the best bits and things and people and incidents and twists and turns?
I'll go first because I don't have many.
Right, okay.
The start when we got David Arquette versus a Predator, I'm like, I'm all in this film. David Arquette, that looks like a fucking Predator. This is exactly like Prey. I'm okay with this. Let's go.
I wasn't expecting that opening of this guy just lying there and just getting his throat cut. I was not expecting that.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, the first thing that happens in this film is someone gets killed. Yeah, it's the I've just got the
That's
opening.
The quickest death we've ever done.
I think it might be. I've just got the opening is fantastic. I don't know if it's a prologue necessarily, but it happens 11 days before the rest. The rapport between Arquette, I've got exclamation point, David Arquette, and his mate. Uh,
That guy was hilarious.
I said the
Just
clown
walking about,
race.
just itching his balls with a gun. His,
we're more civilized. Scratches himself with the gun, spits. Yeah. And then it's a real great feeling of what on earth is going on, but also a sense of the impending doom here. Like this is where they're going. Like, first of all, it doesn't feel a good idea. Then the further they go, there's like more and more skulls, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
god, going.
I thought they'd missed a mistake here because one of the bodies just starts moving to his stomach, and I went, "How have they missed that? It's a complete fucking right there front scene." But then missed the gun
Yeah.
going off.
And then very much the first time we see one of our boys, one of the white predators, the
Yeah.
troglodytes.
Yeah.
This comes out of nowhere. It's like, "Whoa, yeah," and then rips the guy's guts out, and then that's it. Where Bone Tomahawk, the film
Yeah.
starts at that
That's
point.
why I was like, yep, I'm all in this film. This is a western that I
Yeah.
want to see.
My next high point is in the middle of the town sequence. It's just the piano player and
He was my
the bit
favorite.
of banter that Matthew Fox has with the piano player. It was like
it's the kicker of the sign turn around at the end that got me.
Yeah, the 3 cents per song, but then when it gets to 3 songs, it's 10 cents, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I get tired after 2.
That's 100% my thing.
Explanation, yeah.
You know, what I'm like with picture framing proofs. The more you get, it doesn't mean you get bigger discount. It's no, it's the more work I've got to do. I get tired.
It's harder the more you go on. And then, like, say, turn, like, what's it, the starting fee? That's what it's starting fee.
Yeah.
One whiskey, a brilliant little bit. That was a good little scene. Most of the scenes in the Learned Goat are quite good. They're not exciting, but I quite enjoy the people bouncing off each other. Chris, any more high points from you? Well, obviously, I'd imagine.
In general, Chicory. He was a very, very close to going as a low point because he really annoyed me at the start. He was like a doty old man who just kept stopping and didn't even know how to eat soup. But
no, he was just hungry. He was excited by the soup.
Thirsty and then hungry, yeah.
Like, the more the film went on, like, the better he got, the funnier he got.
Yeah.
And he was just...
I just loved him cruising around in his pajamas.
Yeah, and his jammies, yeah.
The conversation, I must have been the first camp of him. Do you read a book in the bath? And he's like, no. Oh, I've ruined the books, I dropped them. How do you do it?
Is that a problem you have, Chris?
And the fact that he's backup deputy, I thought by the end, spoiler alert for the end, I thought he was going to be like not only are you an actual deputy, you're the sheriff now, but nah, it doesn't even get that. He's that useless, he doesn't even get that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I want comic relief to be like. I don't want Roman from the Fast and Furious 10 movie, whatever what it was. That's not what I want. I want this kind of comic relief, which is he's a character, he bounces off other people in the right way, but he can be funny. And it's the little throwaway bits, like Chris says, he'll mention.
Where he's absolutely obsessed with like the German, like the spyglass. And he's like, oh my God.
Oh my lord. Yeah.
The clarity of this thing. And they're just like, people are possibly dying here and you're making fun of it.
That is absolutely one of my high points, is the bit that's behind Chris when he finally gets his hands on the German. That was a really funny scene because I can't explain how funny it is. It's just it is what Chris said there. My next high point is when the sheriff goes to meet Buddy, as we know him not to be Buddy, but David Arquette in The Learned Goat. So that scene where the sheriff knows what he's done and Arquette doesn't exactly know that he knows, and then try to find out. And the one bit I liked was, oh, you're here to meet someone. What's the date today?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're meeting somebody, you'd have to know what date it is, and he didn't have an answer and all that. I like that. And I wasn't expecting to shoot him in the end. I thought it was just going to be a case of, you're coming with me, son. Like, you don't have a weapon, you're coming with me. But him actually shooting him in the leg, which starts off the chain of events, really.
I like the scene afterwards with Bruder. He goes to get the doctor. Oh, we've got a guy who needs your assistance. Shot in the leg. Shot in the leg.
It must be a common occurrence with the sheriff. Yeah, I did enjoy the town sequence, like the first, I think it's 30-something minutes of them in the town. Actually, they set off on their quest on the horses at like the 40-minute mark. So the first 40 minutes with them being in the town, I quite liked it. But the one problem I did have with it, which isn't a low point, is that they kind of set up everybody, and then like in the last 2 minutes of the town, they can introduce a few more other characters. And I'm like, oh, who are these people? Oh, here's the mayor. Here's the mayor's wife. Oh, the mayor's wife's actually the mayor. But and then they're just never in it again. Like, it's weird that they just threw them people in to just not have them again. Any other high points, Andy? Have you got any others to squeeze in that might be in the middle of the film, or are you near the end?
Well, basically after that bit, that was when I had to turn the film off, because I was the same as you. I enjoyed it up until they started their quest, and then a lot of low points coming in this next bit.
Yeah, same.
But then we get a lot of screaming, and then that's where I'm at when you start to
Right, so
see
you get as
these
far as screaming.
troglodytes.
I did like
say
Ramiro
Bruno.
and
Yeah,
Ramiro
like-
and his associate showing up in the middle of the night. I like the two Mexicans. That was
the best bits I like about that is actually this is when Matthew Fox really comes into his own, like him shooting him, just like and his little bell, like those bits kind of got me through it. It was everything that Matthew Fox did, everything that Patrick Wilson did annoyed the shit out of me.
I'm the most intelligent man speech about being married, but I thought that was funny. I enjoyed that bit and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the ambush as well, where they kind of keep them away by basically Matthew Fox is shooting them. And then later on we'll go somewhere and we'll be safe. And it's like they're not actually safe, and them coming and taking the horses. And then his bit with his horse reminded me of Red Dead Redemption. His scene with his horse.
That broke my heart. Rest in peace, Pony Montana. I miss you.
Pony Montana. My horse was called Horsey in the Red Dead.
Mine's a bit tasty.
A big tasty, that's right.
I thought it was a troglodyte that was getting him. I thought it was just the two Mexicans had been killed, and then
it was a nice little twist.
And I thought it was a troglodyte that was getting him. Oh yeah,
no, it was the rest of the squad. That, again, the brooder, isn't it? Is Matthew Fox? He was on it. He knew everything that was happening. He was always like, "I'm on the ball." He even got stabbed. At that point, he gets stabbed. I thought that was going to play into it, but he was basically fine until the end.
Which
is basically what I'm kind of them arriving at Troglodyteville at this point.
Yeah.
After the little scene where Chris was funny when they were just like, "Yeah, there's a lot of them, but the clarity is good," and then but you're right into this bit. This is where it gets. This is where Predator kicks in.
The point where the watch comes out, where he's ticking the 30 seconds, basically onwards. I've got the 30 seconds with the watch into. Do you see any activity? Thwack! And it gets smacked in the head with a rock immediately. To his hand getting cut off, which I had missed first time round.
Oh, yeah. How did that happen? Because you'd seen nothing. You just see his
hand flying past.
One of the troglodytes comes running to throw it, and as he throws it, the backup deputy shoots him with the shotgun. So he kind of goes, "Oh!" and the axe just basically goes up in the air, and then Bruno's on the ground because of the rock. And it just lands. It's so sharp, or whatever. It just lands, just chops it clean off. But I had to go back because I was trying to work out, was it killings, or I was trying to do something stat wise. I think I had to go back and realized his hand was off, and that's why I had to can you tie it off, or what was he said?
Yeah. Like I said, when it gets to that point, their tension is just unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like you're not really sure what's going to happen, and they're like through the spyglass thing, looking at the cave, and do you see anything? And all of a sudden, there's three of them on them.
Yeah,
a couple of characters are dead. A couple have been knocked out. We're not sure if they're dead, and they're getting dragged off into the cave. It's like we've just had a period of nothing happening for ages, and then it's all happening at once. So, a very good bit when they finally arrive at the cave.
It's right after that when I think Bruder must be dead, and the sheriff and the deputy walk through this cave, and they get ambushed, and it looks like Kurt Russell is genuinely getting choked.
Yeah,
and then they shove this thing down his throat. That was quite difficult to watch.
Yeah, they're very hard bits to watch, which brings me to dinner time with the troglodytes.
Well, this was the bit that came up because like Chantel's like, "Can't go this dark, does it?" And I was like, "Did say horror, but it didn't seem like it was going that way." But yeah, that scene.
That is probably the most horrific thing I think I've ever seen in a film.
Especially if you've just had a vasectomy as well.
Yeah, I'm glad I watched this 2 weeks ago.
Two balls dropping out.
I've got a good throwback to Got to Love Somebody getting cut in half the long way, as we did. Getting cut in half the long way, like we did in Slither, where the guy got cut in half the long way.
But it's like the whole thing, like the what do you call it, scalping? Then
the scalping.
It's like shoved it in. Then jibbed him. He still went, and then the sheriff's like, "Yeah, it's fine, I'll avenge it." And he just flipped him upside down, cut his ball sack, 2 balls dropped down, then just split him in half. I'm like, what? And then
bone tomahawk repeatedly to the groin, and then like you say, they just rip him like top to bottom to top.
Literally, the 2 little balls just dropping out. It's just like
I never noticed that bit.
I didn't notice that either. Then when they burst him as well, like the insides just fall out basically where his arsehole used to be and all over. It's like, oh.
There's like no cutting away from it either. Like there's a lot of glimpses of the sheriff, like, "We'll avenge you." But you see everything.
Yeah. That's what the budget
I like that. I'll never, that's like ingrained in my brain forever now. I'll never forget seeing that.
Exactly, yeah. It might come up later on, we'll see. My next high point was in my low points, because I was like, why is he sitting for ages cutting at that troglodyte's throat? This is our main man, Mr. O'Dwyer, on his one leg catching up.
straight away I knew
Oh,
he's
right,
doing.
yeah.
And he jumps on him. It's like, is that jewelry? And then just digging away for absolutely ages. And I'm like, what is he doing?
The reason why I got
doing
this straight away was because I looked at Chantel and I was just like, they're making all this fucking weird noises. Like, that doesn't sound real. And I was like, but I seen them all having this weird thing. I was like, they must have this weird throat thing. Maybe they're like not like human.
I was gonna say, are they aliens or have they actually mutilated themselves to do
I think
that?
they mutilated themselves to have this type thing.
I think so, yeah. Or it's like a birth defect thing, but I think Andy's probably is they do it to themselves. Like they know like what to do with a throat in order, because that's what now I'm thinking about it. There's a bit earlier where they mention all the arteries, whatever it is. There's 18 or 16, like so. I think it's
you need to cut all 18 of them. Yeah, if they just do that and insert a little thing in.
They can cut 4 of them, and then the thing works. Maybe is how it works. Yeah, but I've just got that's genius that he did that.
Yeah,
like
that's the only reason why I picked up on it. Is because literally I was like, why are they making like it sounds fucking weird? Why like
yeah?
And then just seeing that guy when he was standing there screaming, but it's like his mouth wasn't opening. That was what got me. I was like,
right,
it's his throat. That's why he's.
You must have a massive. Your big 4K telly really makes an advantage here.
It does.
Me, Chris, don't see these things. Final battle, is that worth a high point when our main man, the deputy, gets out of his not deputy, the sheriff gets out of his cage and fights them?
Oh, just before that, the deputy would get his guts slit open because after he's like poisoned them. That was
him poisoning them was quite.
That whole scene was pretty high.
That was good, but yeah, them coming in, cutting him again. Kurt Russell's basically been the main guy, and he's just getting himself cut open and then shoving the what do you call it, a canteen? What do you call it into him while it's boiled, hip flask while it's molten hot, basically.
Yeah. It was the big troglodyte as well, just working with a gun and just pointing at his balls. I'm like, I've seen a guy split in half. I don't need to see this either. And I'm like, I'm looking away, waiting for it. And he's like, clicking it, it's not working. I was like, oh, thank Christ.
Imagine just had a vasectomy and you're watching that as well.
I said,
Fun fact, Nicola was pregnant during Premonition. Not Premonition, Prometheus. And there's that scene where it just cuts the baby out. And she's like, no, why are you not watching this? So this is what I was like with my balls.
This is a ball heavy film, this.
Yes, it's mutilation heavy.
Never balls I've had a vasectomy.
I've got one more high point, but it's not necessarily a massive high point. It's just a filmmaking high point. So if you've got anything else to say about the end of the film, then the fact when they walk out are surviving humans or heroes, we're going to call it, and they pass by the way that these evil things keep their women, and it's like that. That fully reiterates. Yeah, these are the good guys. What they did was right because look, they chopped the legs off and intentionally blind all of the women just to impregnate them and breed. So
there's like a throwaway comment from Mrs. O'Dwyer. Oh, there's 2 women blind and crippled. And you just forget about it, but then you walk past it, you just see them kind of moving, and you're just like, they're forcibly blind and forcibly crippled. I see. It's not just an accident. So yeah, that means yes, these troglodytes, they're the baddies in the situation. Look at what they do. So don't feel guilty. On to point 3 then, the low points, which speaks for itself really. Worst bits and all that. I've got
Andy, are you ready to... I've got a big one, but I feel like Andy was ready to jump in with something.
It stems from mostly anything that Patrick Wilson's in.
Patrick Wilson and his bad leg is my highlight.
Yeah, sexy scene which bad leg came into it, and then his leg just got in the way, like literally all the way through the film.
I know he wants to save his wife, but he should have he would have been better just to stay at home and somebody else go instead of him because he just fucking hampered them.
If he'd had a horse, then okay, that's reasonable. But then
even they made that bit boring. He had a fucking horse, and it was still fucking annoying.
Yeah, it's like, but what are you? Say you get there and it's a bunch of bandits. Like, what are you gonna do? In defense of him, he was the one that wiped out this whole clan of monsters, really, which is kind of daft. When you think about it, that they all just charge it on one by one.
Or was it Jesus? I think it was Jesus.
Maybe
Jesus had his back.
But I'd like, excuse me, they wiped out them 3 pretty much without being seen.
Yep.
Yeah. They charge at one guy. They can't even shoot an arrow when he's asleep. They miss him with that.
No, it's because he had made his body slightly bigger than he thought. He had his jacket off kilter. So they shot the arrow through, and then he went bang.
He does.
He missed him.
No, he
He
had his hat
essentially-
and his jacket slightly off the side, and he was thinking. And then when they shot the arrow through his jacket, he then just got up and shot them.
I need a bigger TV. Jesus Christ, I'm missing
I
all
know.
this.
Andy's eagle-eyed this week. Imagine playing Chris in the quiz if you had a big TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of beats them by basically being smarter than the other three that
Yeah.
go in ahead of him, and also slower, more patient, knowing he can't go in guns blazing, so he has to kind of go in a bit more easy. But yeah, pretty much whenever Patrick Wilson was acting around his bad leg, my leg hurts, I'm fine. Oh, I'll fall, my legs hurts. Go back to him, I'm fine. Oh, I'll fall, my legs hurt.
My final straw was when he's the only one that can help him. Like, there's got to be somebody. It's like he's praying to Jesus. It's going to be a big Calvary or something. And then you get to that hill, and it's like, oh, he's going to fall down the hill. And then he falls down the hill. I was like, yep, that's cemented. Fucking Patrick Wilson and his leg. That's the lowest of low points here.
I kept bouncing between, how is Patrick Wilson going to Gandalf it here? Like, how is he going to come to save the day? And it's like, but maybe he's not. It's like, so who's Gandalf? Did they send for help? They send a message to another town that this was happening. So we don't know anyone else. Who can come and be Gandalf? It's like, it's got to be Patrick Wilson. And then he isn't. He's just, I don't know. He's just, I don't know. the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Predator. That's what he is, basically, in the end. I've only got one other low point, but we kind of touched on that.
I think this film could rival Lord of the Rings for the amount of walking it's or amount of traveling.
It takes them forever to actually get there. 45 minutes after they leave Bright Hope, do the three of them arrive at the kind of cave door thing?
It's
like
one hell of a
archway.
gamble, trusting. I know he's like a kind of Native American intel guy, but it's one hell of a gamble going, yeah, I don't really want to help you, but if I had to, they're probably over there.
They're in this kind of area.
And then they're like, yeah, right, okay, we're going to ride for 4 or 5 days to get there. It's
was it 5 days in 3? Like the distance of 5 days in 3 days with a guy with one leg.
Yeah,
and an
I
old
was just
man.
like, that's one hell of a gamble if this Native American's told you the right direction. Because if they haven't, they're fucked.
Yeah, exactly, and they're gone forever.
Yeah.
My only other note I've got next to them taking forever to get there is I was actually begging at one point for the troglodytes to kidnap Mr. O'Dwyer just to get everything moving a bit faster. Because, like, I think they'd have made it in half as much time if they hadn't had to help him every 5 minutes.
I was all in 45 minutes, no issues, and literally it was about 20 minutes into this, I was like, fuck me, just something fucking happened. I'm just and I was like getting like this. I was doing a Chris. I was like, nah, fuck it, we'll watch it tomorrow. Can't do it anymore.
There are bits, like we have mentioned throughout there, there's the bits where they've got the German, they've got the bits where Matthew Fox is talking about the marriage, we've got like bits and bobs, but it's like there's just a lot of just nothing, and it's not even, like, it's just gone from my brain. I don't know what took 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they don't even bounce back to the town. We don't bounce forward to the cave.
They set up camp about
We've
4
been
fucking
stuck
times.
with them this entire time. There's, like, in other films, you flip to the troglodytes to see what's happening with the wife and all that, but you don't see that. You're stuck with them for 45 minutes.
Which I do, like I said, the payoff is okay. Like, it does work, like not knowing what's coming, but fucking hell, they need something in between. And not just 2 random Mexicans.
Half of it. If they just, which I like them, but it's like, that's a good scene. I mentioned 2 or 3 other bits. You could make them combine for about 20 minutes, and then there's 25 extra minutes that you don't need.
But yeah, you don't need to see Patrick Wilson shooting a snake, sitting down, taking his sock off for fucking ages.
That's where I lost my head with his leg. I was like,
bit. God.
Come on, fast forward. Any other low points? Because we pretty much covered everything I wanted to complain
Mine's at the end.
Yeah, that's my biggest grievance is the fact that for 10 minutes you're at the start and it opens, you're like, this is going to be fucking banging. And then, like, what was it, 45 to an hour? Nothing happens. And then you get to the end bit, and that's it.
It's almost like, no, I was almost happy with the ending. Like, it was like, all right, they saved them. But then it's like Kurt Russell says, well, there's 3 more. But the only kind of mop-up conclusion we get is just we hear 3 gunshots from whoever the fuck ended up turning up and killing them. And then just a stone drop, and I'm like, right.
It was the fact that, like, Mr. O'Dwyer guessed, it was like, I think there's 12 males.
Yeah.
I know there's 2 things.
And
like,
the females.
Boom, that's it. That's exactly how many people there are.
Yeah.
They count 12. Like, I was hoping right at the very end, when
there'd be a random
stone, there's going to be one footage stands in the stone, and that's it. Boom, sequel.
Yeah, that would, like, even that would have been,
or maybe not a sequel, but it would have just kind of left it open.
Normally with these type of films, that you just have Patrick Wilson just wipe out them all. Like, that would have been fine. I would have been happy if you just wiped them all out, and then you just see them like just fade away, like they're going away, whatever. But it's just the fact that you just had these other random people that if they just waited for maybe 20 minutes, they would have been there to help him anyway. So basically, null and void what Patrick Wilson did.
I like him blowing the horn thing when they come out, and it's like, okay, no more's around, we can leave. But it's just clicked with me about the gunshots. Now, when it happened, the gunshots at the end, I thought, there's people over there. Our 3 people who've survived are going to head towards the gunshots, and that's them saved. Is it meant to be that's Kurt Russell shooting in the cave? Is that what the gunshots are meant to be?
That's him shooting the last 3, or he could just be shooting 3 shots, so they think that's the last 3.
I don't know. I just presume 3 more people turned up and killed 3 because he only had a repeater.
Yeah, but to me, it felt like it was a different direction. They sounded like the gunshots were a different direction. I thought, they're saved. Here's people coming to help them, and they can get home again.
He turned around and looked in that direction. He was like, because he heard 2, and then the third one goes off. He's like, okay, he's done it.
Right, that missed me. So I think, so we're probably supposed to think that's Kurt Russell getting the last 3, but he's already done. Like he won't survive. There's no point in them going back to save him because he's dead, really. So that did not compete with me. So I quite like the ending of the film. Now that I thought about it, I like the ending of the film. So,
it still annoys me.
Fair enough. It
was a bit anticlimactic. It was just really quick.
Aye.
I thought it's just the one-legged man being Rambo is a little bit annoying. But then I know it's kind of weird how these troglodytes just. I mean, they're probably meant to be stupid, but we'll never get into that. Anyway, on to the stats. On point 4. I have, with a question mark next to it, 0 shits written down. Now, there was no F-bombs in this film. There was no swearing, at all. But there must have been someone must have uttered a shit in pain or a shit that they've dropped a gun. And there must be something that was just so natural.
Dams and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But because normally I pick up on it, even when I'm watching other things, if someone swears, I go to make a note of it. And I was like, no, it's not for the podcast. So the fact that I have 0 makes me think nobody swore like to our level in the entire film. But maybe it was just so natural that I didn't catch it as it was going past. But yeah, maybe no swearing at all. Explosions 0 dash. I was promised dynamite.
Yeah. I've made me think of that there. I was hoping it was going to happen with Breeder. He was going to take it a whole bunch of something. No, that never happened.
Nope.
I was sure. Into the cave, blow a lot up, and that's it. That's what I thought was going to happen. But yes, I was promised. You never tell me there's dynamite and don't blow it up. That's rule 1 of making a Western. Deaths. 20. I'm including the troglodytes as human beings because I believe that's what they are. First one under 1 minute. I think 48 seconds is where I got it on the clock, which has to be the quickest death we've ever had. Well done to a film that beats it. And when I say 48 seconds, that includes the studios at the beginning. Right. So basically, it's about 5 seconds. He has a bit of trouble, but about 5 seconds. Our usual quotas, surprisingly 0 cows. No cows in this Western. 1 goat. The learned goat, the pub that they hang out in, is a goat. Dead animal, a wolf/dog/coyote that he kills.
A coyote.
Rattles his chain. Fair enough. A snake that was in the tree, and at least 1 horse.
Yep.
Which is specifically Matthew Fox's horse and probably some others. I can't think of any other dead animals. I think that was the lot. Well, there's a bird because she was given a bird to eat. So Paedophile, none. I would say. I think the troglodytes are safe. I didn't see any young troglodytes, and yes, there's no kids anywhere. Tom Cruise, Tackleberry, trifecta, no motorbikes, so it's a done. But other than that, I think
Patrick Wilson rides a horse.
Difficult. But Patrick Wilson doesn't run.
He doesn't. He rides a horse and gets the girl.
And Kurt Russell doesn't get the girl. So so nobody at all, anything like the trifecta. I was going to count bones and tomahawks. After the first scene, I was like, I'm not counting bones. I will just count bone tomahawks. I reckon every single one but one of the troglodytes that we see has a bone tomahawk. There's one who has a bow, and then when that gets shot, he grabs his buddy's tomahawk. So I think we have 9 bone tomahawks is what I counted.
I was counting how many I'm just going to count how many people have it.
No idea what he said.
Yeah, he's kind of going. You've turned into Robo Chris here.
Robo Chris.
Oh, fucking shit.
There you go.
Like you, I was going to count bone tomahawks, and I was like, every time I saw one, I was counting it, and I was like, no, there's too many here. So I just assumed that every male one had a tomahawk.
12 bone tomahawks.
So maybe 12, but then that one with the bow, I don't know if he had a tomahawk, so maybe 11. And did they say the thing? Did they say bone tomahawk?
No.
Nope.
No, they didn't. Not at all. Chris, any stats from you?
I've got a fun fact for you. Might be stealing Andy's one.
Crystal.
Amber Midthunder's dad is in this film.
I had that within movies of the movies later on. Yes, David Mid-Thunder. I was like, I know that name.
I couldn't tell you which one this is because apparently he's a misshapen troglodyte and they all look a bit-
Misshapen. Yeah. I accidentally paused it on Prime at that scene, and his name appeared at the bottom. So whatever scene I was on, he played that troglodyte. It might have been this one. I don't know. But anyway, it's the scene I paused on was the one he was in. I was like, I know that surname. And then by the end, I was like, oh yeah, it's the girl from Prey. I forget what her character name was. It's like,
I couldn't tell you.
Uh,
And for a film that's over 2 hours long, the troglodytes literally only have 15 minutes of screen time.
For a lot of horror movies, that's the case, though, isn't it? About it. Horror movies, they don't show the villain so much. It's more of a kind of implication that the villain is there listening. Andy, do you have a fun fact that's not the one?
This was the same cave used in Iron Man.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, I did not know that. That's very good.
There you go.
I
Fun
like that.
fact.
Brilliant.
I'm going to try and do
5.
set fun facts now because that's 2 in a row I've had bangers.
Try and stay away from Chris's one as well, because I don't think he'll go that route.
Yeah.
Point 5 on the 10-point podcast is the 10-point podcast quiz. I think Chris was sensational last week, if I remember rightly. So what's happening this week, Andy?
Well, first of
I
all,
can
we
tell
need to
you
know
Chris was
who's
for
going
one.
first.
It's me this time.
It's Chris's turn, yeah.
This is probably one of the easiest quizzes or the hardest, depending on knowledge is key. So Chris is going to go first in the quiz called T-bones or tomahawks. Is it a steak or is it a weapon?
Is it a steak or a whip?
Is it a steak or is it a weapon? Okay. Question 1, Chris. Porterhouse.
It's a steak.
It's a steak. Bruce. Stone tomahawk.
I would guess that's a tomahawk.
That is a tomahawk. It's a weapon.
Otherwise, that's a belter of a great first trick question.
So steak or tomahawk? That's all it is. Just the either answer is steak or tomahawk. Chris. Hatchet.
That's a tomahawk.
It's a weapon. Just weapon steak.
Oh, weapon.
steak.
Sorry, what you said is either steak or tomahawk.
Well, it's a steak or a weapon. Like,
Weapon. It's a
weapon.
weapon.
Or steak, right? Yes. Bruce. Mace.
That's a weapon.
Chris. Bolas.
Weapon.
Yes.
What is it? What's the word?
Bolas.
Ooh, bola.
Bolas.
I haven't heard of that. I might have
The ball
struggled.
things with the weapon. You
Yes.
wrap it in the legs.
Yes.
Oh, right, okay.
Chris. No, Bruce.
Bruce.
I'm going to butcher this one. Good luck. Pichicana.
Well, it doesn't jump out at me as being obviously either one. I'll go weapon.
It was a steak. Chris, don't worry, he gets one I'm going to butcher as well. Atlantilla.
I'm going to say steak.
No, it's a weapon. Bruce, Chuck.
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 A weapon?
That's
Is a steak.
Is it? I've never heard of Chuck steak. I've never heard of that.
Chris, a hanger.
Weapon.
No, it's a steak.
Okay.
Bruce, shank cross.
What was the first bit?
Shank cross.
Shank cross. No, that's a good one because that could very easily be either. A shank cross steak. A shank cross. That's a weapon.
It's a steak.
Sake.
Chris, tri-tip.
That's a weapon.
No, it's a steak.
Oh, fuck.
What's the scores?
It's 3-2. I think Chris got his first 3 and I got my first 2. I think
Right.
since then I've been wrong every time.
3-2. Who two?
To Chris, sorry.
Right. So I've got a tiebreaker, but I don't need it. But my last question was a shank.
Both.
Yes. But Chris wins anyway.
Chris wins anyway. Yeah, I think Chris got his first 3 and I got my first 2. And I made every single one wrong.
I knew
There
all
you
of yours. I didn't know any of mine afterwards.
Honestly, from when we stopped getting them right, I did not know.
I started off easy and got high, but tri-tip steak. That's a famous steak, Chris.
I would have said a weapon. If I'd have said that was some sort of
trident, like a trident.
trident.
No, it's a famous steak.
Not to us. I do not eat steaks particularly.
I don't know how hard it is.
Tomahawk.
If you've been to a Brazilian restaurant, you pretty much
I
nail
bet,
that.
yeah.
But if you've not been to a Brazilian restaurant, it was going to be hard. So I was gambling on the steaks. But it just lined itself, tomahawks or steaks.
Point 6 on the 10-point podcast. Movies within movies. Chris, 10-point podcast universe, please. A lot of hits.
I probably missed some of them. Jay Tavare, who was Sharp Teeth. I'm assuming he was one of the troglodytes.
I think
He
they
was a
just
Street
named all the
Fighter.
troglodytes with things they looked like. I think. Yes, he was a
Yeah.
Street Fighter. Yes.
As Vega.
Oh,
Vega.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly. I'm pretty sure that's the guys behind. No, not the guy behind Bruce. The other guy.
Dunno.
It's the guy that stands there screaming. I'm sure it's him.
Oh,
I think he's the one. He's the one that he chops the throat out of. I think.
Is it?
I could be.
Oh,
I could
maybe.
be wrong. I think that's. I think it'll be
And you
him.
recognize one of
Again.
them. I'm sure. Chris
Again, I think I
Evans
paused it on that scene and Jay Tavari came up.
Catherine Morris, who was Lorna Hunt, she was in Minority Report as Lara Clark.
So I think
Who's
she
the one's
was Kurt
that?
Russell's. She was Kurt Russell's wife in this. I think she was
Yeah.
Tom Cruise's wife in Minority Report. I think, but
Ah.
I did not recognize it. I think that's because I think the name Lara. Because I think Tom Cruise is like separated because of the whole son business. So I
Yeah.
think she takes a new husband's name or goes back to her maiden name. But yeah, I think it's Tom Cruise's wife in Minority Report.
Okay. James Tolkien, who was the pianist, he was in Amityville Horror as a coroner and Masters of the Universe as Detective Lubeck. Is
He was
something
back.
else?
He was back to back in those two in the height of the
Right.
best Jimmy days.
Yes.
But he was just back to back. And James Tolkien, he is coming up in the nominations later on as James Tolkien.
Okay. Yep. David Arquette as Purvis, he was in Scream as Dewey. Richard Jenkins, this is where I think you incepted me, as Chicory was Me, Myself, and Irene, and Cabin in the Woods as
It
Citizen.
was.
Is that he's only done twice? Because I thought we'd done more.
Yeah,
than
just
that.
twice. Yeah.
Okay.
He's now, on the terms that I make it acceptable, that's Richard Jenkins now eligible for the 10 Point Podcast Hall of Fame, which he's going to have to do probably on the back of this, I would say, because I think we've kind of
Well,
forgotten.
He's got to beat out pedestrian. So
That's right, yeah.
I think I'm missing a lot of people here, but finally, Kurt Russell as Sheriff Hunt. He was in Forrest Gump as the voice of Elvis.
He did the voice of the scene where
Yeah.
Elvis is teaching him how to dance. You missed one, and that is the guy who played Ramiro, one of the Mexican chaps that shows up and introduces himself. I'm Ramiro, this is my associate. Eric
That's his face.
Chavaria. He was in Office Christmas Party as Alan, whoever Alan was. That's but yeah,
Oh.
Office Christmas Party. That's the only one you missed. You got everything else, every other information. you've
And
got.
like I said, Chris,
Even
in this
David
film
missed another.
wiped out multiple picks of mine here.
So yeah, you would struggle with multiple. Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a list here, but I should be looking at like
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's and
four.
all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Technically, Kurt Russell was allowed and Matthew Fox. There was two films I'd lined up for both of those.
Oh,
But then
were you
I-
going to speak to me, sir?
Matthew
I
Fox.
might have been.
My God.
Oh, do you know what? After think I haven't seen that for years. And I was
I
thinking,
was literally like Speed Racer was on the list, and then I kind of was looking doing some research. And I was like, "Why is Matthew Fox?" And then I came to exactly the same thing as Bruce did. And I was like, I better not, because I was going to try and please
Right,
Sean.
okay.
I had no
Yeah.
idea that happened by the way, so I don't know what he does. Okay, so
Recasting.
right, that's into film. Yeah, I'm Arthur because I'm a sweaty bastard. Like literally, anytime he walked, the sweat was
Sweat
pissing
coming
off
off
of him. Or even taking his boot off, the sweat was pouring off of him. So I'm definitely him. Bruce, I can see you as Chicory.
Okay,
Like-
thank you. I'll take that.
I don't know who else though. And Andy, I'm putting you as a sheriff. I like the fact that you just go around just popping people in the leg. But
I would do that, but 100% would not go on this quest. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's a deputy job right there.
Andy's was set in stone for me, so I'll come back to him. I had me as the sheriff and you as the backup deputy, Chris, just because of kind of how we approach the podcast. That, like, you're definitely not the deputy.
I
but the
almost
backup
had
deputy.
myself as a Chicory because I think I was quite. I think I'm making jokes as well sometimes. But it was
He,
the
do, he
sweat
doesn't even
pissing
know
off
when he's
of him.
making jokes. It's
Yeah,
so
he's
funny.
funny. But yeah, I think I did have you maybe as it's Arthur O'Dwyer, isn't it? Mr. O'Dwyer. I think I had you as him at one point as well. But Andy,
That's
Stephen
Yeah,
said it
see, you
himself.
know?
From minute 15 of the film, the piano player, I was like, this is Andy. And it's been in my notes since then. It's like and the fact that Andy's said it on film
Yeah.
here as well, I'm confirmed that
100%
Andy
is genius. 'Cause
What about
more
that?
work means more pay.
Yep, he
No
is the piano
discounts.
player.
Oh, yeah,
On to
Chris,
my
what's your-
quest. Oh,
Wait, before we move on, just to cement to Chris. Chris, what's your views on flea circuses?
What?
What's your
Oh,
view on flea
Flea
circuses?
Circus.
I'd hate to go watch one of them.
All right, no, maybe not then.
I've seen one, but I can't remember where it was, and it was quite clearly just what.
But they are real. You
what-
can get trained ones. Wink.
Yeah. The one that the Sandersons had, that was a real
Yeah,
one,
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, the real one. The rest are all fake. Questions. I didn't do any film references because it's probably some westerns, and it's also Predator, basically. So, and it's also Prey, despite the fact it came out about 5 years before it. Could this film have come out in 1995, though? Yes, it's a Western set way back in 1800 and something, so most definitely it could have come out in 1995. Kurt Russell could be in it then as well. And even Richard Jenkins, but the others probably not. Dead Man Walking, first scene. Arquette's not making it far. I did not know he was in this film. And he made it very far, because we didn't find out until about 10
He got done dirty, by the way, just saying.
Yeah, I thought they were going to flip and see him.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I've got a tick next to him, but my absolute Dead Man Walking, the second that guy was walking to investigate the noises in the stable, I was like, you are a dead man. Like,
you mean the only token character in there? It's like, yeah, you're dead.
No, there's a chap helping out in the bar.
So,
but yes, the minute, like anytime it's like, who's this guy? He's not one of the main characters. Oh, there's a strange noise needing investigated. Oh, you are done. And he was. Chris, sorry, you said something else.
Yeah, I thought Chicory was going to get it because like his wife was dead, and he's like, I'm going on this quest. I'm going to save everybody and sacrifice myself.
He probably survived because he should have died, like in most other situations. The old guy who's gone along, yeah. Who's in the wrong movie? I don't have an answer. I can't think who's in the wrong movie. Arquette, maybe, but
he actually was all right in this. That's why I was surprised.
It's not a case of being bad. It's kind of a case of an actor who shouldn't be there, or a character who shouldn't be there, or who stands out. Kind of the wife, but then she's the whole, like, she's the MacGuffin, really. It's the wife. So it's like, I don't know, nobody. I think everyone's kind of there for it. And I was at one point, I was like, Patrick Wilson, he's in the wrong movie, but then he saves the day. Like, again, the whole point of the film is him getting there. It saves him. So everybody is in the right movie. I would maybe go the mayor and his wife, maybe. Because we'll come on to them. I actually got them later in my notes. And tropes. What trope is in this film that we like to see die? There's a very clear point to put this in my notes. A character with an injured leg. Mainly because the scenes where they're always trying to mend themselves.
Mine's just fucking walking in scenery. Like, I do, like, a good western's a good western. A bad western is fucking bad. Because
you're right.
Ultimately, I get to, I've been to the Grand Canyon. It's fucking amazing. Some of the views are amazing, but ultimately, every single western looks the fucking same. So you need to do something different. Yeah. So if you're not going to do anything in between, don't just have long fucking walking scenes. At least Lord of the Rings gave me scenery. So I would say long walking westerns.
And at least Lord of the Rings bounced to other characters actually doing things.
Yeah. But yeah, just long, just scenes with people. That's my trope that needs to die.
Being hurt. Chris, what's your trope?
A one-man wrecking crew. I think I've mentioned this before.
Yeah, I think you have.
Yeah, one guy who wipes out an entire tribe. It shouldn't be possible.
I think
they make it easy for him just by fucking streamlining himself.
I think that's one of my perfect movie pieces, the one-man army, unfortunately. I think that's one of the things I do like. I usually get behind a one-man army. And this occasion I enjoyed it, but not as much as other times. Point 7, that one thing. What is the one thing about Bow and Tomahawk?
Yep. We're all agreeing.
Deputy Nick getting wishboned.
Yep.
I'll remember that, but I will also remember, that's that Western with the white predators.
That's one way to remember, but no, I'm going for the wishbone.
So the thing is, I'll remember there's a guy getting split in half. I'll be like, what film was that? And then I'll be like, what ripped him in half? The white predators. Oh yeah, it was that weird Western. That's kind of my line, I think. Point 8, the nominations for the 10 Point Podcast Awards at the end of season 7. Is that what we're on?
8.
I don't know what season it is. 8. Season 8. At the end of season 8. Bloody hell. Chris, nominations.
I made the nominations not knowing all the facts of real life. So for me, the best actor, I put Matthew Fox.
100%.
I think it's Kurt Russell. I think it's Kurt Russell.
No, Kurt Russell's playing Kurt Russell. Matthew Fox is not playing Matthew Fox.
Like, he is true. Every scene he is in,
he is playing a posh, pretentious badass, and I believe him.
That's unique. I'll give you that. Yeah, I might have defended Kurt Russell if no one was decided, but I've already lost because you guys are decided. But yeah, I think Kurt Russell's really good in this. I think you're right. He's playing Kurt Russell, but it's what he does. Like him,
he's just an old Western
dying in the act. I know,
every time, even in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, it's why I don't like him in Guardians. He just sounds like an old Western dude.
Actually, it's one of the best things in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Okay, fair enough. I lose, but Kurt Russell, good lad.
I was going to have him as best supporting, but his name's in the top 4 credits, so that's why I put Matthew Fox as best actor.
Right.
My best
supporting is
Richard Jenkins.
It's Richard Jenkins. Yes. I was so
he grew on me. He was really annoying, but he started growing on me more.
I was so in on him. In my notes, best supporting is still the backup deputy because I didn't know it was Jenkins yet, so I haven't actually changed to put his name in. But yeah, he's definitely because it's so good without giving away who he is. He's the opposite of Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's being Kurt Russell. Richard Jenkins is being a totally different
Oh
person.
yeah, he was so good that we didn't even know it was him.
Yeah.
Excuse me. My most underused, I put the troglodytes.
I guess they would have to kill more. We'd have to have more fodder for them to get through.
Yeah,
See,
bigger clan. But yeah, a 12-person clan
No, I
with
mean-
2 women, how does that work?
They'd have to kill
Oh,
more
yeah,
humans.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
thought
other
they
thing,
could have
'cause-
stalked them more during their travels, but they didn't at all.
Hmm.
So I thought that they were going to be throughout the film, but
Yeah.
I just no. 15 minutes of them.
I don't think I've got an under. Oh, I've got an underused, but I'll lose. You're probably right. I've got Fred Melamed, who was the barman guy, the guy who had the cult. Like he's really funny, and he's in. I think he was in. Like he's in the first episode of WandaVision. I think he shows up in things all the time. I really like him, but like I thought, I thought we were going to get more of the town people, and all that, but we didn't. So I was like that. But I'll go with Chris with the troglodytes.
Oh, that would have been a good ending. Them defending the town, a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Which would make more sense as to
The
why
tribe's
they're all
bigger than
being
12.
thrown.
She got it wrong.
Yeah.
My best badass, I put Arthur just because he took everybody out with a broken leg.
Nah,
Oh,
Matthew Fox.
That,
He
well,
took
I had
it
the
I
sheriff.
wanted
125.
him.
I think it's kind of Matthew Fox, but I like the way the sheriff takes on them, like bare-fisted, basically at the end, and I like that.
You
But,
tie. I'm going Matthew Fox.
yeah, and Arthur's a good point.
He killed
as
a
well.
lot
I
of
think
them.
yeah.
And what a way to go. He's definitely winning best death.
Well, he would have if he
Who
fucking
is?
blew himself up.
Nah, there's only one best death in this film. So,
Yep.
I don't know. Best badass. I think Arthur's the one that I would maybe change my mind to because he kills everybody. But he's not a bad. He's not. No,
No,
he doesn't have the spirit of a badass. No, I'm sorry. Nobody. Then I think.
The best team they're doing before.
I've got specifically the sheriff and the backup deputy because they're more of a
They're
team
actually a team. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
from the
actually, when
beginning.
you
Yeah.
can see them like go now, and you just see him disappear and come behind Patrick Wilson. So I'll agree to them too.
I think it's just the two of them are a better team than the four because obviously Matthew Fox is like a basically an agent of chaos within the team.
Yes, yes.
Biggest bell end is the boar troglodyte, the one that did the hatching.
Yep.
See, I've got Bruder here. I've got I think he is a bell end to everybody who's around him is Matthew Fox's character.
Nah.
But I think he's more of just a bell end. Like he's on our side, but he's a bell end.
Actually, to be fair, I would say, like, to throw another spanner into the works, David Arquette, he killed a bunch of them, he stole a bunch of ancient burial ground shit, and then went to a town and fucked everybody up. He's the one that set this film up. He's a bell end.
Yeah, I think he's more villainous than bell endish, though.
Yeah.
I think I've got to draw again. Haven't we? We have to
Draw,
leave that.
draw. Fuck him.
Best villain, the troglodytes.
Yeah.
I've got Troglodytes as best villain, but I've also got them as worst villain because they're definitely evil.
Well, that one at the start was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're really good at what they do, but there seems to be a very simple counter to what they do, which is to shoot them before they get to you.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm putting them both. I think they're definitely a good villain, but they're also pretty terrible as well. Like so that's. And I don't think any of them, specifically, none of them stand out. Like there's Wolfhead and Bortusk.
Not a big bad.
Because like Bortusk should be, because that's the one that the wife is scared of. But he comes in and he gets kind of dealt with pretty easily. So
I see what you mean, like the Wolfhead as well. He drinks that stuff and you never see him again.
yeah,
He doesn't even come back. So he's technically still alive somewhere.
He's the one
said
who's
he
going
would
to
recover.
passed out, wasn't he?
yeah,
Unless Patrick
Yeah.
Wilson shot maybe past.
maybe
So-
yeah.
Best death.
Yeah.
Has to be the guy getting wishboned.
Just fucking brutal. What am I? The best
the testes. When you go
object-
back and watch this, which one's the testicles fall?
I don't want to go back and watch it.
Keep an eye on the ball.
Best object is the pianist sign.
Nope. German.
The German. Yeah. The German.
Oh, fuck! I
German.
didn't thought of that.
Like, it is ultimately shit, but there's the fact that there's this love and passion for the German.
Yeah, it's up on a pedestal. It's it's the German. I finally get my hands on it. Yeah.
Best weapon. I want to say it's Tomahawks, but the gun seems to trump a Tomahawk.
It does. I think the Tomahawks are cooler, but yeah, the guns are better. Yeah.
So it's up to you. Like
I would say
I
bone
wanna say
tomahawk, because that thing
yeah.
just not even enforced, just falling out of the sky, clean off.
Yeah, because it chops Matthew Fox's hand off. I think it wins.
I don't even know how you get a bone that razor sharp. That's pretty impressive.
And how it got so much momentum to go, watch out, straight through someone's wrist. It must have got like where the
ultimately killed him because when the guy runs around, all he hears and it hits him.
Yeah.
So good.
All they need to do is put it on a string and it'll be fine.
yeah. Very risky though. That's really good for practicing.
Best twist. Chicory survives. I thought he was a goner.
Okay, I don't have a twist.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Blah, blah, blah. Best special effects. Deputy Nick getting twixed. Scalp then twixed.
Yeah. It looks very real. Yeah.
Maybe this is a snuff film. That's why it's a
snuff film. Yeah. I don't recognize the actor.
Exactly. Maybe they're deed.
Best set has got the cave. Like
the cave.
I'm just sold to the fact that it's an Iron Man cave as well.
I did not know that. I already had it. Didn't know it was Iron Man.
Best cameo is James Tolkien as the pianist.
Okay,
that's a cameo, but
there's a lot of Danny John Jules and cameo crossover here. So
my Danny John Jules is Sean Young because I didn't expect that at all.
Right, I have got Arquette as most unexpected because I wasn't expecting him. But then I've got James Tolkien in capital letters with exclamation points, and then I've got Sean Young because I didn't realize it was her. So therefore, like, I did not expect to see Sean Young because I don't really know. She's not on my mind, but I recognize
I've seen her in 2 films before: Ace Ventura and Blade Runner.
Yep.
I've only known from Blade Runner, really. But I think Tolkien, I was like, oh my God, it's James Tolkien playing the piano. And then he's just never in it again.
Yeah.
Yep. So, for unexpected, I wasn't expecting him. But Sean Young was a good cameo because I don't think I'm not like, oh my God, look, is it Sean Young? So I think she's more cameo. But then I didn't recognize her. So it's cameo Arquette. But then it's Arquette in it too.
I thought he was in it too much. But I put James Tolkien as a cameo because it was quite funny.
Yeah. I can agree. James Tolkien is the cameo.
Right. What about Danny John Jules then? Because I had Tolkien for him for that. Like most unexpected.
I recognized the voice before the face.
I would say David Arquette because I would not expect David Arquette to be in a film with Kurt Russell, that kind of caliber of person, and a western, especially at this bit of time when David Arquette already went off the rails.
Yeah,
so
it's 5.
And I didn't know he was in it until, like, obviously I kind of went, oh yeah,
showed up. Yeah.
So
Sean Young's out.
I would say Sean Young's out.
Sean Young. Right. Okay. I didn't recognize her.
Not been relevant since Blade Runner.
Oh, actually, I do have to mention her in another category, so that's good. We'll get back to her.
Okay. Best line. I've got 2 here, but I put the deputy saying, "Is it possible for you to close the aperture for chicory?" Because I'm now going to use that as a polite way of telling my kids to shut up.
Shut up.
It was also going to be the deputies as official. Oh, I've forgotten the line now. It's the official opinion of the backup deputy. Yeah, official opinion. Yeah, but I will go for the. Is it?
Fine. I don't have best line even written in my notes anymore, but yes, I think it's because I never really bothered to write the line down. I think best line became like moral of the story or an insult at the beginning for when I use. Really, is what I did the best line. But fair enough, Chris. They're both good lines.
Sweet. Best animal, saucy.
I didn't think the horse was
called saucy.
Saucy, yeah. It wasn't enough of a character, I don't think, for me to have it as best animal. But I think if I had to pick one, and because it was a funny name, yeah.
Afterwards as well, they said oh the fuck was it? But they said you teach your horse bigotry or something like that. No,
that's right. Yeah,
it's like greasers or something like that.
He wouldn't let some greasy Mexican rider or something like that.
Yeah. Best cop, Sheriff Hunt.
Yeah.
Best costume is Bruder's white suit.
Nah.
Ah, okay. Well, I've got them as worst costume because it was absolutely unnecessary to see as many cracks in the Indian bottom.
White Predators, they're fucking awesome.
There was one stage where there was like, is it the one who ends up accidentally chopping off Matthew Fox's hand? He's on screen with his bare arse lying there for so long. I was like, God's sake, full arse crack. I don't need it.
There's a guy as well choking the shit out of Kurt Russell. You just see his arse in the air.
Well, we're on it, right? Costumes. Right. I've been to the Grand Canyon. Probably the best kind of thing I've been to is kind of like this. Desert is hot. I went there in a t-shirt and shorts. Okay. I was fucking hot. These guys are walking around the desert in fucking suits.
Yeah.
It's all westerns, like the fucking nutters. big hat
Yeah,
on,
sweat so much.
big woolly fucking big things on. Nah, I just don't get
They
it.
also have cravats and things on as well,
Yeah.
don't they?
It's hot in
No,
the desert.
You're outvoted, Andy. I'm going best costume is
It's only
Michael
because
Fox.
you get your arses out.
But what is the costume then? Like what?
White Predator.
What are the? What? So it's the fact that they're painted
Loincloth.
white.
Well, they're
and
not
then
painted.
a
It's
loincloth.
dust and dirt. Like that's a costume.
Right.
Look at that guy
I think
behind
that's
you. He's
worst.
properly playing racist. He's whited up.
Weighted up. I think that's the worst costume. I don't know if anyone's on board with that, but yeah, fair enough.
I'll accept it. I didn't see any arse cracks. Whatever. Best hair is Kurt Russell's glorious tash. I'm
Yeah,
well
I think
jealous. I would love to go
Oh.
with tash like that.
His hair is actually magnificent as well.
Yeah.
Actual hair. The only person that runs him is Lily Simmons having not 1800s hair. Like the wife, she's got lovely 2015 Hollywood hair that should not be.
Same with the eyebrows as well. Like every lady's got perfectly plucked eyebrows. I don't know if that was a thing back then or not.
I doubt it. But yeah, I think it's Kurt Russell's. He's looking very manly.
I was going to say most pornographic is the Hunt Sexy Time.
Nope.
It is.
That was just
I know Andy
cringy.
hated
It
that
was.
scene, but I thought it was quite funny about his bad leg. To be honest, I thought it was all right.
I know I did this in a couple of seasons ago, but the best what the fuck moment is them splitting that guy in two.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I seen it, I was like squinting to him. I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
Oh, just
I just
mouth
I
like
just-
watching.
I couldn't like watch it. I was like, "It was brutal." So I think that's me.
Right, best fight.
Ah,
Either
shit, yeah.
outside the cave or inside the cave. I don't know which one's better. Which fight is better?
Well, the one outside was really a fight. They got the arses handed to them, so I'm going to say
Yeah.
in the cave.
The one in the cave. Fair enough. Best food. Deputy Nick.
Well, he's soup.
I'm like,
No, the guy that's split in
I
half.
know. I was going to say the only other thing is soup, so that's the
The soup,
competition.
yeah.
isn't it?
So best
You got
Nick,
soup,
best.
super deputy Nick.
beans.
The guy
is
did,
what
the
I was
guy
gonna
did seem
say.
like he was enjoying his big turkey leg.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Done best man object. Best plan is him using like the throat bone or whatever
Yep,
it was.
100%.
That was the
Shit,
best.
That was
plan.
up there with Sam Neill using a Raptor 3D printed thing.
Yeah. Best set we've done. I'm struggling now. Oh, best story. Michael Pena is the Flea Circus.
Yeah,
It's Michael Pena.
with a wee wink at the end.
Richard Jenkins doing the Flea Circus story. But no, normally I do most stupidest character. Kind of tough in this one. Is it the backup deputy or is it, I can't think who.
I think he just played it as stupid, but he was
Nah, I
actually
think
really
he-
clever.
I think he was slow.
But this film tells me one thing: most intelligent character is definitely Samantha O'Dwyer, the wife. She's the smartest person in this film, because she's
I
like
like
the
her
doctor.
massive
She knows how to do
Doctor, she
that.
can do a thing.
She's
And
like
then
she-
somehow she survived 5 days in a cave, so she must have been bagging on the side.
by like not eating. They don't want you to be lean.
Yeah.
They want you to be
Yeah.
fat so they can eat you. Her, I say, counting everyone. Her being like telling, oh yeah, the flea circuses, they're that one's real. Like keeping
Yeah.
him nice and all that stuff. I think she's definitely the most intelligent in the film. Worst acting. Now I had Sean Young before I knew it was Sean Young. But she stinks up that scene when she comes in. But is it Patrick Wilson? Is he worst acting? Because he has some real stinkers.
He does.
Yeah.
He's in it too much, and he just like the leg acting's just bad.
The leg acting. Like, oh, I'm in. Oh,
Aye.
ooh, like this is my big scene. Tuesday is my big scene. I'm down in the ditch, hurting my leg. I need to be really focused on my leg hurting.
I will say the only his saving grace is that one where after he's fucked his leg and they want to take it off, and he's like, "No, I say no," and he gives a big speech there. That's probably the best bit, but I'll accept him as being
I
worst.
think he's maybe worse than that.
Yes.
Worst cop is the backup deputy. He's actually a pretty bad policeman.
Yes.
Is our main man Chicory. I'll go for him. I've done worst costume. Worst plan. Well, the wife seems to think it's the rescue plan because she absolutely just savages them.
Idiots.
Yeah.
I kind
So
of
is
agree.
it? Because it's just we'll just charge off with the
Yeah.
one-legged man and an old person,
Yeah.
and kind of get someone to send a message to other people that were doing it. And it's a bit of a
I mean,
bad
they had
plan.
the clues there. Like, obviously, like they went in and seen that stable boy absolutely gutted up. Like, maybe we need more than 4 of us here. Like,
And then
yeah.
like get the professor, and then I think that's the native guy, and he comes in
Yeah.
and is like, oh yeah, it's not natives, it's these other things. They're
Yeah.
totally horrible, deadly. I know all about them, and I'm not going anywhere near them.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's
It's
not
like,
going
right, let's take some more people.
in. Yeah,
Why didn't that absolute giant other guy who got really pissed off about his horse not go?
yeah, exactly, yeah. And he's the one with the horses. They could have,
Yeah.
oh, we'll bring
Aye.
extra horses. Yeah. Because they say there was some behind when they went to the stable, they hadn't stolen them all, had they?
No, it's just one
Sold
enough for
all,
them,
whatever
wasn't it?
was. Yeah. And that's it. I think worst villain for troglodytes again. That is it. Andy, best product placement?
Smith and Weston repeater.
Ah, very good. Yeah, repeater. I didn't think there was one, so very good. Point 9 on the podcast. The moral of the story. What lesson was this film teaching us?
I'll be surprised if we don't all have the same one here.
Oh, on you go, Chris.
Smart men don't get married.
Ah, okay.
I
I
was
didn't
going
have
for
that
that.
as this.
No,
All right. I
This is
went
Chris.
for.
he's
This
in trouble
Chris.
tonight when Nicola listens to this podcast.
If I hadn't used it for the intro, I might have used it. This is why frontier life is so difficult, not because of the Indians or the elements, but because of the idiots. That's the lesson I was supposed to learn, which was her reason for the plan B. But Andy, what's your moral of the story?
Stay out of caves.
Okay, yeah, never go in a cave.
Nothing
Point
good ever
10.
comes from a cave.
Nothing good's ever, apart from Iron
Apart
Man.
from Iron Man.
Yeah.
Hey.
10th point, the 10-point rating. I had to shake it up a wee bit because we kind of did this order last week. So Chris is first, Andy in the middle, me last. Chris, what's your rating?
I can say I was disappointed with how anticlimactic the ending was. Like there was like all this traveling for 20 minutes of fucking a one-legged man just destroyed everybody. I was like we've talked about like that one scene. I was not expecting that, and that will forever be ingrained in my mind. But Matthew Fox saves this for me, and I'm in no rush to watch it again, but I wouldn't not watch it, so I'm giving it a 6.
6 from Chris. Andy, you were in the middle.
I started off, like I said, massive. This could be huge. Predator, Prey. I'm all in. I like a good Western. Like I said, Cowboys versus Aliens. First bit of that's fucking banging.
First bit of that's good as well, yeah.
I was like, I'm all out, and then fucking hell, it drops off a cliff, and then it tries to pick it back up, but by that time, I'm kind of too bored by it. They needed something in the middle. This gets a 3.
I already had my finger on the 3 button, and that's where you were going by your tone of voice. It's not quite what I was expecting, and I think it's probably better for it. I think if it'd been more Western, like the last chunk, then I think I wouldn't have liked it as much. The aforementioned 45 minutes where nothing happened really drops it down. As I think every single one of the 3 points I'm not giving it is probably because of that. So I'm giving it a 7 because I actually really like the beginning, and I'm far higher on the ending of this film than you are.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of wanted all this brutal stuff to happen at the end. It's like,
I love the brutal stuff. I just made
so quick.
yeah, but I quite enjoyed it.
I was fine with the quickness. I was just like, there were still 3 of them. I wanted to see 3 more kills.
You got to see the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, like the brutalist didn't bother me. Like it was just hard to watch for a bit. But him getting split, the chef getting his insides taken out in the canteen, all that stuff was great.
I like that pacing. That was the bit that actually gave this film points for me. It's just like I like the start. The middle kind of works, but there was just not enough happening. But then it kind of paid off at the end. But then
with Arthur is what kind of annoyed me, is how he just lied down having a sleep and then just gets up, starts killing everybody like with one leg.
Yeah, the amount of times he has a nap in this film is not necessarily.
And it's just the troglodytes just seem to be stupid with him. Like they wiped out 3 guys without being seen, and yet they just jump out in front of him.
Right, I'll help you. Let me help you with this, Chris. Right, before Bruce tells the final score, let me help you with this. If you, Chris, hypothetically, okay, seen a cripple crawling along the floor and you were a brutal killer, would you toy with the person a little bit? Because I think you would. You'd be like, hey, this guy's fucked. He's crawling. I'm a big, strong guy. I've got an axe. This guy's fucked. 100% you would. You'd let your guard down a little bit and then you would get fucked.
Yeah, probably.
Exactly. So I think that's the weapon that Patrick Wilson really had, was he was playing to these beasts of a war, going, oh, look at this cripple. Like, they've already crippled their women. This guy's a cripple to them.
He was playing possum.
Yeah.
Playing possum the entire time. Did it. Officially a 5 out of 10 for Bone Tomahawk.
So that's better than I thought I was going to get. I thought you was going to fucking hate it.
No, I think it's got a lot
there's a lot of potential, but not enough potential for me to give it more.
Not exactly executed to the best. Chris, that is your first selection? Second selection? Have you got a theme going that we've not guessed?
Inception.
Apparently, yeah. What was the first one? Big Lebowski, and I think it's films I haven't seen so far.
Right, okay.
He's just going to keep making his theme up as he goes along. Yep, definitely that. I still hold that.
Right then, next time on the podcast, in 2 weeks' time, an extra week this week to try and find this. There's a week off for an event that the lads are going to. It's 2 weeks, and it's my pick. Not too dissimilar to this film.
Oh God.
And you're going to remind me of this after I've said what film it is. But I think it's funny to say it's not too dissimilar to Bone Tomahawk. The oldest film that we've done so far.
Oh
What's the current
no.
film? Any idea what the current oldest film is? Alien? Something older than Alien?
Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror could be right, yes. Older than that, the oldest film. Probably the oldest film that we will ever watch. Lucky we've got 2 weeks to watch it. Well, after the one I'm picking, but I think also after Amityville Horror.
Jesus.
A film that I first saw over 30 years ago when I first saw this film.
This is the Christmas panicking.
1939's
Oh my God.
The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
And not too dissimilar to Bone Tomahawk when you really think about it.
I mean, you got to squint a little bit.
Tomahawk and everybody.
Yeah, I was thinking.
There's a lot of walking. There's someone
walking. A party of 4 making a journey to get to somewhere in the end. They steal Toto. They have to get Toto back, I think. I could be wrong. So they're trying to get the wife back and all that sort of stuff. And
I've got some fun facts about some dwarfs and cocaine. That's tune in.
1939's Wizard of Oz. We rave about it every couple of episodes. Whenever Andy's like, "This film looks really bad." Even the Wizard of Oz from the 30s looks better than this. So it's. Like,
I've accepted you now.
No, I've really wanted to do this for a while. I always think it's going to be really tough for us to do a film that's older than 1939. So like, we can't beat the Wizard of Oz, and we've got 2 weeks to get it. So. In that time, you could try and watch it synced up with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and actually see if it makes sense. Because I've once, there's this, we'll get into it next week, but yeah, an urban legend that, in my opinion, is absolutely false. The Wizard of Oz, I didn't say who it was starring because it stars everybody who's in the Wizard of Oz, and that's what they're famous for, basically. So good luck with the universe next week, Chris. 1939's Wizard of Oz, you've got 2 weeks to find it. I'm sure you've probably got it somewhere. Look at the Blu-ray version, they're meant to be really good. Wizard of Oz, and we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.